So the next topic is actually very similar to stacks. That's called a queue, spelled Q-U-E-U-E. A queue is just another fancy way of saying lineup. Something that you've experienced many times in your life, and you'll experience many more times. It's how we keep order in our society. So we don't just run and fight for who gets what. We line up in a nice orderly fashion, and whoever gets in the line first gets served first. So that actually draws me to how a queue works. A queue uses something called Fifo Order. Let me just erase that, sorry, one second. So FIFO order is very similar to LIFO. Instead of last in, first out, it's first in, first out. Essentially, if you were the first one in the line, you're the first one to be served. Just like if you're at McDonald's or anywhere else, a queue works the exact same way. There's no real difference. So if you're playing a video game, for example, you might see a lineup in a game like Command & Conquer or StarCraft where you set up a queue of moves. So for example, you might queue up a whole bunch of build instructions like build a base and then build troops, build tanks. You can only ever build one thing at a time, so it will never go to the next item until the current active item one is finished. And again, much like a stack, a queue can be implemented as either an array or a linked list. And there's other options as well, but for now we'll just keep it as an array or a linked list. So the basics of a queue, once again, is that it's just like a lineup. It follows a first in, first out strategy. Where would you see something like this in the real world? Well, a shared resource piece. So for example, a printer in the classroom. Printer in classroom has a printer queue, which means if 5 people send print jobs to the printer, whoever sends it first is going to have their job printed first. Another thing you might see it is like a playlist on your iPod. You set up a sequence of items. The first one you add is the first one played. When that one's done, it goes to the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. You might see things like in the game The Sims. Each AI character has a certain series of instructions. So for example, it might follow its daily routine of getting up, going to the bathroom, having a shower, going to work. But it's got to go through that sequence of items first, in that specific order. So that is what a queue is.